now have first-person intel from inside the Westview anomaly.
What are we looking at here? Is it an alternate reality, time travel?
It's a sitcom.
Starring 2 Avengers?
It's a working theory.
Well, I know the apron is a bit much, dear, but I am doing my best to blend in.
Hello, dear. Hiya, kids.
Hi, kiddos. Life moves pretty fast out in the suburbs.
I think something's wrong here.
Should we just take it from the top?
Wanda.
I don't know how any of this started.
What is outside of Westview?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. It's probably just a case of the Mondays. Am I right? Is this really happening?
Yes, my love.
Are you crying?
But I'm invested.
Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today we have a real treat. We're talking with former AAFCA Best Actress winner Teyonah Parris, the star of the Disney Plus series Wandavision. All right, today we have AAFCA member Emmanuel Noisette in Chicago, Janita Davis in Indiana, Sharonda Williams in Atlanta, and Ruben Rigaud in Miami, Florida. I'm gonna let you guys do what you do so well. Take it away.
Hi, Teyonah. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I get to talk to a Black woman that is a Marvel superhero. I'm here for it.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk to all of you. Thank y'all.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask you, it's so important about representation on these shows, but especially for Black women. And I wanted to ask you about the importance of portraying Monica Rambeau, but also to the importance of keeping her identity on the show as a Black woman.
And when you say keeping her identity, what do you mean by that?
It's one thing to have a diverse cast, but to also keep the identity that we see her in her natural hair, like even as we go through these different periods, but also too, while not ignoring what is happening in the background during the decades in which these episodes take place.
Absolutely. First of all, it is a complete honor for me to be able to step into Monica Rambeau's shoes. If you're a comic book fan, then you know she is a total badass. And just even when I heard that they were, we saw her as a little girl in Captain Marvel, but I didn't really imagine that she would get fleshed out and grown up. Silly me, to not expect that. But now that we're here, I mean, it's just truly been an amazing experience. The creatives that I've gotten to work with, Matt Shackman, who is our director, Mary Lavanos, who is our main producer, and Jack Schaefer, our head writer, they were so open to my ideas. Obviously, they had their own ideas of who she was and what they wanted her to grow into. But everything that I came to them with, any concerns I had, like you mentioned, like, okay, so we have this Black woman who is going through the decades with the rest of this amazing cast, and we're paying homage to American sitcoms. And as we all know, we didn't necessarily, as Black people, we weren't necessarily present in those worlds. And so it was definitely a conversation that I wanted to have with them, like, hey, she is here. And we already know, if you've seen the show, that she's already an outsider and intruder in ways, but how do we have her in this world, but still stay true to what her point of references might be, what her experiences might be? So, like, for example, episode 3, my pulls of references were from where, while it might have seemed like a Brady Bunch kind of world, I was pulling from Good Times. I'm like, this is Willona, this is Thelma, like this is a mixture of who those women are, but also making sure that, well, it really didn't matter if it was a stark contrast, because she's already an intruder. You're already like, what is she doing here? And her style is a little different from what the rest are giving, but they were totally into it and excited by, yes, let's make sure we're not losing her essence, losing the unique experiences that she would bring to this world. And as far as the, I can stop there if you want. Okay, I was gonna say, and as far as like her image, that was so important to me that how often do you get a Black female superhero who is obviously Black, and in the comics, true to its original, she's wearing her natural hair? That was, that was a bold move even back then when the comic was created. And so it was extremely important to me knowing that as a chocolate Black woman, I often don't see myself in these spaces. And now that I'm here, I want to do my best to be the representation that I didn't see when I was growing up. And or that was very scarce, I should say. We certainly didn't see it much in the superhero space. And so it's definitely been extremely important to me and the other collaborators on this project that we are mindful and can have fun and still while doing it, but definitely mindful of the image that we're putting out and that everyone understands how important that is.
Well, we definitely do, and we appreciate you so much. You did that.
Thank you. It takes a team. It's a team effort.
Hey, Teyonah. This is
Hi.
Emmanuel Noisette from E-Man's Movie Reviews out here in Chicago.
Hi.
So Monica has been going through a lot in this series. I mean, she's lost her mom. She's had conflicts with Hayward. She had her free will mind wipe and, all that. And she seemed kind of triggered when Captain Marvel was mentioned too. Can you talk about Monica's emotional journey throughout the series and what you can relate to the most?
Yeah. So when I first read the scripts, or really when I first talked to Jack Schaefer about our head writer, about what Monica's journey was going to be, and when they told me that Maria had actually passed and that we were going to deal with that, I was like, oh my gosh. And just seeing how they're dealing with Wanda's grief from losing Vision, the love of her life, and then having this parallel experience with Monica losing her mom, and what is it like coming back from a blip? Like who knows what that's supposed to be like? So it was fun trying to imagine, like, what do I know, what don't I know, just trying to get those parameters in place to help shape how Monica would deal with this grief. And so that's been really a treat to explore. What was another piece of what you asked?
She was triggered by Captain Marvel and her conflicts with Hayward.
Right. So yes, it's gotten a little spicy with Hayward. I think what I really love about Monica is that she realizes what's happening is not good. It's not good for anyone involved. And at the same time, she's able to have empathy for Wanda's experience and her grief. And she's seeing this other woman as a fully fledged human being who has lost and is grieving, and the trauma that brings. And she's trying to connect with this woman while still trying to do her job. I mean, she has a job to do, and that's where she has to answer to Hayward, and they're seeing things a little differently, I could say, and how Monica is navigating, obviously, authority as well as empathy. Like, how do you juggle those two things? So that's been Monica's struggle thus far. And then with Carol, when Captain Marvel is mentioned, I mean, you took it as a little saucy, but I mean, there's something there. I will agree with that. There is something there. But what we'll have to wait and see. I can't tell you everything.
Totally fine. Thank you so much. And I hope you check your boy Hayward, because he's been real out of pocket. But thank you.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll see.
Hi, Teyonah. I'm Ruben from Miami.
Hi, Ruben.
One of the cool things that the audience got confused at the beginning of the show is it's like a rom-com. Like, where are we going with these superheroes in a rom-com? like I got confused. How was that moment when you sat with the writers and they're trying to explain what they wanted to do, and then how the narrative will evolve to what we're seeing now?
Excuse me. Yes, you are not the only one that was confused. When I first sat down with the creatives and they explained to me the premise of the show and what they wanted to do, I too was confused. And we can even go before then. When I auditioned, they sent sides from what I now know to be episode 3, where I'm sitting on the couch talk with the stork is coming at Monica's pants. So that's so stylized and so true to that sitcom era. I had to ask my my agents, like, well, who did y'all say this was for? I thought this was a MCU audition. I'm really confused what y'all want me to do with this. So my confusion was from the very beginning. And then once they explained it, I was still confused because I was overwhelmed by the fact that, oh, wow, I'm really sitting here talking to the director, the producer, and the head writer of Marvel Studios show. And so I still couldn't even hear them. I couldn't process what they were saying. So it took a couple of weeks, and then they sent scripts and I was able to ask questions. But once I really understood, I just thought, wow, this is so freaking cool. And I was anxious to see how that would manifest, because I mean, even myself, I was expecting MCU, things blowing up, this and that. But when you have this very intimate, beautiful, and quiet love story, and this grief also that they're exploring, I think they've done just such an amazing job combining those two worlds. And it's just been a real treat watching Lizzie and Paul have the space and the opportunity to dive deeper into these characters that we've only really gotten not enough of, in my opinion, in the movies. And so that's been really exciting. And they were just also amazing to work with, just great human beings. So it was a nice intro into the MCU, being alongside those two.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jonita Davis from the Black Cape. I'm interested in how this role has affected you personally, because I know, playing a dark-skinned superhero on TV, where there's like not really many of you out there. It would give me an ego trip, I know personally, but I mean, how has it like affected, has it affected your journey as an actress any at all, or your outlook on your career?
Being able to play Monica Rambeau in the MCU has most certainly affected my life. When I tell you, it has actually been a dream and a goal to play a Marvel superhero. And I say Marvel because I was very specific in my manifestation and dream board. I want to be a Marvel superhero. So the fact that I'm here now talking to you guys about taking on this role and being able to be the representation I yearned for as a young girl. I wanted to be a superhero, but I was looking at women luckily women, because at a time there was a time when there wasn't even women, but I was looking at women who didn't necessarily look like me. They still inspired me, but there was also a part of me that yearned to see someone who I could assume maybe walked the same thing, certain things, a path that was similar to my own. And so when I think about it, I'm deeply moved and honored. I look at my nieces, and my nephews, and I think, wow, like, you're not only will you have a superhero of not only will they have a brown female superhero to look up to, it's their aunt, you know what I mean? So that part of it is like, oh my gosh. And they're like, Auntie, look, I see you on TV, but they're just so excited. They want to dress like it already. And even for young men to see this Black woman up here and what the creatives of the show are doing to make sure she is a fully fledged character. And she's got points of views and a backstory and goals and things she stands for. I'm just so honored to be a part of this, because it really is something we've all been yearning for as a community. And I mean, look at Black Panther. Like, that was even the start of just having that sort of representation. I know how empowered I felt leaving that movie theater, and I'm big and grown, okay? So I just hope that not only will young brown and Black girls and boys be inspired, but I know it's going to inspire the masses, and it's going to give people an opportunity to engage with the humanity of Black women. I'm in your home, and they did a good job writing her out so that you understand that we are multifaceted people. And so that is really exciting for me.
Look, you have manifested your role in the MCU. So I want to know, what do you manifest for Monica? What are you manifesting for her life, with all of the personal issues that she's dealing with, and also to the professional stuff with Raggedy Hayward? What do you manifest for he is Raggedy, it.
Raggedy. I love you, Josh. That's the actor. But it's hard to manifest for my character. That is a group manifestation. The most that I could hope for is that I tell her story truthfully, that I am honest to what I know this means for me and hopefully for others, and I'm just trusting that the creatives and Marvels and all the powers that be continue to be as amazing as they are in developing this woman and telling her story.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Teyonah. So I know you've done your research. I know, you've been digging in the Marvel comic books and, going through Monica's history and everything. So I'm just kind of, curious as a nerd myself.
Okay.
What's one aspect of Monica's character that you would really like to see brought to life on the screen? Maybe even a certain love interest or something? No?
I mean, listen, I'm down for the love interests. I'm down for, she's just been able to do so much. I mean, Monica has led the Avengers, and she joined with Next Wave and the Ultimate. So she's had quite the career. And so I mean, I could pull from anything. I love they've already have, the relationship she has with her mom, and in the comics, her dad was also around and was a huge part of her life. And then you have her love interest with Blue Marvel. That was around. That was a thing. That was pretty spicy. That would be cute. I mean, she's done so much, but any of it, just, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Thank you.
What do you want to see? What do you want to see? Let's see.
Oh, you putting this on me. I mean, I definitely want to see you and Blue Marvel together.
Okay.
I definitely want to see that. And I'm gonna just throw this out there now.
That happen.
I want that to be Will Smith and you. I think it'll be beautiful.
We're calling it for it. We're calling it for it.
Let's go.
Thank you. Yeah.
You say something that it got my attention. It's like it's probably the only story from Marvel that it feels intimate. Like yeah, she's grieving, and we don't know what's going on with Vision. Like we don't know many things, and but your character is really strong. Like since you get kicked out or whatever happened, uh, how was that process with the actors to create first this intimacy, and then in episode 3 and 4, the whole explanation of what's going on, and and how was that work with you as an actor and the writer and the director to create first the intimacy and then all this back to Marvel universe?
Yeah, I mean, it really is a treat how Jack and Matt and Mary have made such an intimate story that can also handle the big epicness of what we've already come to know and love from the MCU. So the process in trying to make sure that we were able to navigate between those two styles was it, I mean, honestly, for me, it just felt like different movies or different shows every time. Like, okay, what world are we in? Okay, it's something, flying or things being blown up, sure. Okay, it's just a different energy. And then when you have those quiet moments, I don't know, except to say that my cast is amazing. We had great leaders helping us, and we just really studied the styles of each decade and just tried to be true to it. And Lizzie and Paul and Evan and Catherine, everyone, and Kat and Randall, everyone is just amazing. So they brought that connected, dropped inness to whatever element we were in. I guess that,
Because
answers it.
That's one of the coolest things, that even the intros is from different decades. And I assume you as a character, we see you first in the 50s, then you have to evolve to the 70s.
Yeah.
So that's a different character in a different age. And then you have to go out, that's a different person. And then we see you and the flashback, that's another character. So
right.
That's to me is really awesome.
Thank you. No, we definitely did like a sitcom boot camp where we studied each decade of television to be able to pull from that to layer into our performances and to have a sort of structure to fill each decade. And yeah, that's also a part of the research.
Hey, I just want to say you sound like a nerd, a fellow comic nerd, like Manuel and I. So I really appreciate that.
I'm trying. It's new. I've never picked up a comic book before Monica Rambeau. That is the truth. But I'm trying to make my way through it. But it is new. It is new.
It's new.
And it's very particular.
I wanted to know what your heroes were growing up. Who are you drawing from? Yeah, because you talked before my last question about seeing the impact on the youth, on your nieces and nephews,
Yes.
and so who were some of your heroes growing up, and who do you look up to?
Oh my gosh, growing up, you could not tell me Halle Berry, Angela Bassett. Those were my heroes. And even Pam Grier, but Pam Grier was not by way of me actually seeing her in person. It was because my dad was obsessed with Pam Grier. He's like, oh, if you're going to do it, you better do it like Pam Grier. That's how I got to know Pam Grier. But as far as like immediate, accessible, like what is in the media on TV while I'm growing up, I was Halle Berry, Angela Bassett down. Just the barriers that Halle has broken, even with her in being a superhero, being Storm, and as a young girl seeing that and just knowing like, okay, it's possible, it's very possible, and just from winning her Oscar, just all of the walls she's broken down to make it possible for young artists like myself coming in now. They have certainly paved the way. And Angela, just all of the roles she's taken where she's just represented a strong Black woman, a smart Black woman, a passionate Black woman, that has been inspiring for me. Those are definitely two women I've pulled from as I was growing up and been inspired by tremendously.
You know, you are the new woman on the block. I want you to talk more about your experience being thrust into the MCU, because you have Elizabeth and Paul and Randall and Kat. They've already been a part of this world for so long. But I really wanted to know, what was that experience like with you really meshing in with these staples in the MCU universe, and if you have any characters that you still want to work with? That's not a spoiler, so you can answer that.
Okay, sure. It's been a crazy journey coming into the MCU from my Comic-Con in, what was that, 2019, when it was announced. I'd never been to a Comic-Con, and just everyone is so excited and passionate about the comics and the characters that they love. And so I'm really grateful that I got to experience Comic-Con in person before the whole world shut down, because there is no other feeling like that as far as like being in love with comics and interested in comics. Like I said before, Lizzie and Paul they're awesome human beings. So they were very welcoming. I learned by watching them. I've never green screen acted before. So that is a whole other skill set that I have an immense amount of respect for actors who do this. I probably have wandering eyes because I'm confused what to look at, that sort of thing. But they were very encouraging, and just watching them, especially watching Lizzie, because a lot of my scenes were with Lizzie, just watching her be so grounded with so much stuff happening around her. I was like, whoa, I was certainly taking notes. And then now just watching her performance on TV, she is killing it. She is killing it. And I'm just so excited for her and just so proud of her. But yeah, for myself, they just welcome me with open arms. And I think, I'm a little, what do you call it? Like, I can be excitable. So there are things like when I first went up on a wire to get thrown out of the hex, man, that was very fun and uncomfortable. I'd never been on a wire before. I'm probably saying all kinds of inappropriate words because straps are places I didn't know they could be. So, everyone was just very gracious with me and gave me the space to learn.
I was in the room when your name was announced at Hall H, so you were fantastic.
Thank you. See, you felt that energy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yes, I felt like I floated onto that stage. I was so high, like not high, but high off of emotion and excitement. Yes.
Teyonah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
On behalf of
the
African American Film Critics Association, thank you for joining African Roundtables. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. I could have kept going.